All right, everyone. Thank you very much for the applause. So today I'm going to talk about money without borders. Now, the reason why I went with this topic is because we've heard of doctors without borders, right? Lawyers without borders. But what about money without borders? As Bitcoiners, we know that the answer is Bitcoin. But for a lot of people, this is a question mark. It would be nice to have money without borders, especially when you're looking at it from the African context. We are a continent full of natural resources, human capital, and we have everything that we need to thrive and be a success. But our realities are very different, unfortunately. We are a continent that suffers from low intracontinental trade. We do not trade with each other. We are completely cut off from each other in certain respects. Our continental trade hovers around 15%, which is very bad, despite having everything that we need. And to add to the issue, we also have multiple currency problems, despite having various regional blocks and even a continental union. To give an example of this, this is the Nigerian naira, in case you've not seen it before. So I live in Nigeria, and this is our currency. If I take this and I go to a neighboring African country, or let's say, for example, I travel with my naira, and I go to somewhere like Kenya, or I go to Malawi, and I try to give it to somebody, this doesn't mean much to them. They won't be able to do anything with this. Despite being an African currency, despite being in the continent, they're not going to be able to do anything with this. And so this has little to no meaning for someone, despite it having some meaning for me. But for it to have meaning, it has to turn into this. Exactly. The reaction tells it. So I like to describe this problem as even our money needing visas for it to make sense to each other in the same continent. And this is a problem. It is a major problem with trade, it's a major problem with remittances, and it is something that prevents us from interacting with each other as Africans. We see this problem even in our lived experiences. Just think about it. From South Africa, if you want to send money, let's say, to someone in Congo, how will you do it? Just using the fiat system, can you think of a way? Easily? No, right? Western Union, but think about it. Let's say the person doesn't have ID. Difficulty. And this is the reality of so many different people on this continent. It doesn't matter if we live in cities. It doesn't matter if we live in villages. This is a problem. But I think that aside from this being an issue, another situation with our reality is that a large proportion of the continent is still governed by authoritarian regimes. And I think this is the saddest part of it all. Because under authoritarian regimes, you suffer from debilitating circumstances. No matter how insulated you think you are from it, one way or another, it catches up with you. And what does this mean? We see it a lot, especially with the financial systems. People are silenced. People are forced into silence because the financial systems have been used as ways of putting people through difficult circumstances that pushes them into not speaking out about certain problems. They're at risk of things like currency debasement, manipulation, surveillance, even property confiscation. And as a regular person, you are at risk of serious inflation. Today, tomorrow, the value of your money can get wiped out. All your savings can mean nothing to you at some point. And that's despite working several years. And that's a very discomforting situation for a lot of people. But this is our reality in Africa, and it's sad. And so for such a long time, financial systems have been weaponized against people like journalists, activists, nonprofits. And when it is used against them in this manner, they're unable to do things like even making payroll. Because just think about it, you're an NGO, and you have a lot of people that are depending on you for their salaries. And just because maybe the government doesn't like what you've said, or they do not like what you're doing, maybe because you're speaking for democracy, or you're trying to speak against things like police brutality, they shut access to your finances. You can imagine that the number of people that depend on you have also lost their income source. And it also causes you reputational damage as well when you're unable to do all of this. And so these are ways that money can be weaponized against people. And it's sad. I keep saying it's sad because it's crazy how in 2026 we are still battling with these issues in our continent. And it goes beyond money as well. Even things like social media, internet bans, they prevent people from speaking up against key issues that are plaguing their countries. For example, we've seen how internet has been shut down. We have very recent examples as a few months ago, right? So these are realities. But at the Human Rights Foundation, we believe that financial freedom is actually a cornerstone for human rights, and that Bitcoin is a very important tool when it comes to defending it. Oops. And so what does this mean for us? Just put yourself in the shoes of an activist, right? Who needs to move money from one place to another. Just think about them using the fiat system. As I showed you in the beginning of my presentation, you can't move local currency because it means nothing to the next place that you're going to. So what does that mean? You have to find a way of obtaining US dollars or maybe pounds. That's if you're able to get your hands on it. In some places, it's very difficult due to things like capital controls or it even being a problem when you're found with it, right? So it makes it difficult for their activism to even go on. And that makes it difficult for changes to take place in their countries. So that's where Bitcoin becomes a very important lifeline to people like this, even to the regular person, the person who is plagued by things like not being able to make payments, regular payments. I'm just talking about regular people right now, not being able to make payments across borders. So for people like this, Bitcoin becomes a very important lifeline because it is financial infrastructure that cannot be censored. So in places where financial systems are used as tools of control, as ways of controlling the people, Bitcoin actually becomes a very important means of transaction, important means of organizing, an important means of resisting this kind of control peacefully. And so how do we support measures like this? At HRF, we have the Bitcoin Development Fund, and I'm sure a lot of you have heard of this. And what we do at the Bitcoin Development Fund is that we support individuals and projects that make Bitcoin and related freedom technologies more powerful tools in the hands of human rights defenders and activists, so that it'll be easy for them to use it in their work. And this makes it wonderful for people operating in these type of challenging environments. And what do we do? Who do we support? So we support people, like I said, human rights defenders. We support software engineers, developers, translators, educators, builders in the space that are working in Bitcoin so that it will, to ensure its continued use, right? So when you have educators, why do we support educators? We want to make sure that people understand what to do with their Bitcoin, how exactly to use it, and to have these type of, let me say, safe means of proper Bitcoin education. Why do we support circular economies? These are ways of demonstrating how Bitcoin can be used in everyday life. We support software engineers because at the end of the day, it is people's work that makes Bitcoin survive, right? We need it to survive. We need it to grow and improve. And so we support all these people's work. And over here, I have a map showing countries where we supported people's work, and by no means is Africa an exception to this. We have also supported projects and individuals in Africa. And of course, this number is still growing. To date, we've supported over 300 projects, and like I said, it also features people in Africa. We've supported developers, we've supported circular economies, educators, translators that are working on making sure that Bitcoin education, Bitcoin material is being provided in local languages, aside from just English or maybe French or something. And I think when you're looking at Bitcoin being used as money without borders, I like this particular story, right? We're just looking at this headline that says, when Tanzania's internet went dark, Bitcoin bridged a family across a border. It seems like a very basic headline at first, talking about how nice Bitcoin is. But I like this story because it goes so much further into the tools that was used to make this a reality. And I have a quote here. And the tool that was used was one of the projects that we supported, Tando. Shout out to you guys. So as we know, some months ago, there was an internet shutdown in Tanzania. And think about being a regular person getting caught in this. You're going about your day, all of a sudden the internet is shut down, and then you have some chaos that you're trying to overcome. What do? If you try to think about fiat, how do you get money to this person? It's difficult, right? Very difficult. But this particular person was sharing a story of their mother. Their mother got caught in this protest. And so somehow she makes it across the Kenyan-Tanzanian border. And now the next issue is, how does she get money? Mind you, the internet is shut down, so you don't have access to the mobile money networks. So what do? Luckily, this person was smart, and they had taught their mother how to save in Bitcoin. So their mother had some funds in their wallet of Satoshi wallet, and they were able to send some more funds to her via Tando. And this is wonderful. This is the life of a regular person right now. We're not talking about an activist, but we are talking about the lived experience that Africans go through. We have to jump through many hurdles to get some of the things that a lot of our counterparts in different parts of the world are able to do with ease, and this is one of them. Getting to safety is one of them. Luckily, this person knew about Bitcoin. They were educated about Bitcoin, and they were aware of tools that they could use in order to overcome this challenge. And it is a wonderful thing to see. The problems are not wonderful to see, but the fact that we have answers to these problems is a wonderful thing to see. And so it is very important for us to be aware of the fact that our work in Bitcoin means something, not just as a cool hobby project or something that is, oh, it's a fancy technology, I also want to be a part of it. But it means something to regular people in their lives. It means something to the activists that's trying to improve their living conditions of the people in their country, that's trying to make sure that they have democratic practices in their country. It's important to this mother who wanted to be safe. It's important to this child who wanted to make sure that their loved one was in a position that they could guarantee their safety. So this is, if ever you're working in Bitcoin and you're thinking, does my work even matter? Does this matter to anyone? Just know that it does. So we have tools like Tando, there are tools like Money Badger that make it easy for people to spend their money. It connects us as Africans. Because just think about it. If you're going to another African country today, what do you have to do? You need to start thinking about how to get US dollars again, which probably means going to the black market. We've seen presentations from our friends talking about using the Lightning Network as a settlement layer. This has made our lives much easier. And I feel that as Bitcoiners, we have regular experiences with this. And as African Bitcoiners, it becomes more real to us, the need for having money without borders. It is not an abstract concept anymore. Yes? Yes? So that's the reason why I feel that Bitcoin is very powerful in our stories. So yes, I just feel like this is good food for thought for all of us. It's not just fancy technology at this point in time. It is real money that you can use. And I feel that as Africans, we get it. We understand this. Because we are cut off from each other, not only with borders, but with financial borders as well, in quotes. So we can actually make a change. And I'm so happy that at the Human Rights Foundation, at the Bitcoin Development Fund, we're able to support all of these projects that make it a reality for us to live that kind of borderless life. And so I encourage all of us today to think deeply about what we're doing with Bitcoin. And really think about the concept of it as actual money and not just some sort of abstract thing. The developers that we're supporting in their work, now they're contributing to this technology that everybody in the whole world can use. Like one of our friends here, he had a presentation where he mentioned that the financial systems were not made with us in the room, unfortunately. But now that you have African developers going in there and also contributing, they're also having a say in improving this technology. And it's so nice. It moves us from that position of just being like a consumer, but someone who's actively contributing to this. And it's very impactful. It gives us an opportunity not only to think about our immediate circles, but also to think about the bigger picture. It makes it possible for us to work together. And yeah, I think I still have some time, so I'm giving you guys more time. So, okay, I hope I did a good job there. But yes, these are the words that I would like to share with you on the impact of Bitcoin in the human rights space. And I would like to encourage you to sign up for our Financial Freedom newsletter. Feel free to scan our QR codes. Feel free to read our Financial Freedom Report, where we talk about Bitcoin and, financial freedom. Feel free to sign up for our webinars, our activist webinars. Our next one is in March, so feel free to sign up for it. If you happen to have an activist in your life who wants to know more about Bitcoin, who's thinking, oh, how does this work? What's this technology all about? Feel free to direct them to our webinar. We'll be more than happy to educate. And if you are a builder in the space and you need support, feel free to scan this QR code and apply to the Bitcoin Development Fund. Thank you very much.
What an awesome presentation. I love it. I love it. Thank you. Thank you so much, Judy. I'll take